Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So today we are doing an Oakley Q&A. If you are new to the channel, Oakley is I still go to call him a puppy, but he's more of a dog now. He is a year and, let me get this right, August, September, October. We'll say a year and 3 months. So he is a little bit older now. I have just recently done some update videos on Oakley. I did an update for when he turned a year old, and he's coming in the room if you can hear his little pitter pats. I did an update when he was a year old, an update, sorry he keeps knocking the camera, this is why I was wanting him to be up upstairs with his daddy. Yeah, go on, go find daddy. An update for like a full year with him, and for the full year on update, naughty. For the full year update, I put a questions box on my Instagram asking for things that people wanted to know about, people wanted to ask questions, but by the time that I got some responses for that, I'd actually already filmed the video. It was just bad timing on my part. So I thought I'd do a full Q&A going through those requests as well, because I'm pretty sure I didn't answer a lot of those. So I put another thing on my story to get any last minute questions, and we have a few. There's not like tons, so this shouldn't be too long of a video. I know if you are a subscriber, I'm really sorry how long all of my videos have been recently. I just end up talking for ages, so I am sorry. So let's get straight into it. First up, we're going to talk about lead walking, because I had like 4 different questions on this for tips and things on how to get it better. What is going on? No, you need to get off, sir. Get off. He doesn't like it when I talk to no one. He normally doesn't jump at me, but he's being a naughty boy. Can you get away from that? Thank you. So one of the main things that Oakley is actually doing quite well on is his lead walking. The things that he still struggles with is when we are in a completely new environment and there's loads of distractions. So at the minute he's good with walking on paths, and grass is a little bit iffy. He needs to kind of refocus before he actually pays attention to me. So he's a bit iffy, so I'm not going to act as if he has it down perfect yet. He hasn't. He's still only a year old really, so I'm not bothered that he hasn't got it down perfect, and we do need to take some time to work on it a little bit more with new environments, because that's kind of not been a focus recently with us moving, and then we went on holiday, so we haven't spent a lot of time on going to new places with him, so we need to go back to that, especially since yesterday. So quick update for subscribers, Oakley currently has conjunctivitis. We don't know where he's picked it up from, but we had to go to the vet yesterday because he had a lot of like green gunk coming out of his eye, and he wasn't... Oakley, stop licking the pumpkin. What are you licking the pumpkin for? We went to the vets and he didn't behave the best at the vets, so we definitely need to focus on going new places and places where there's high distraction. So I'm not going to act as if I have the lead walking down perfect, that I've done it great. And like I say, he's only, well, I hadn't said it in this video, but in other ones, it's only kind of just started getting right properly. So it's taken me a long while. But I thought I would run through the top kind of things that helped me with Oakley. One thing I will say is that every single dog is different. I know everyone says that a lot, and it is just a bit like, yeah, but things do work for all dogs. But honestly, the thing that I found out with Oakley is things that work with some trainers just don't work on him. He just doesn't respond the same way that a lot of trainers say a dog will do this and they'll do that, and then he just doesn't. So these might not work for you, but they might work for you if you haven't tried it. So there's, I want to say like 3 main things that helped Oakley. So I'd say the thing that I noticed the start of it getting better was his sit stay. So what I mean by that is I practiced with him outside, making him stay in a sit and walking around him. And this just kind of gave him a little bit better of awareness of where he was with me. And I think that helped with him knowing that he needed to be by my side. So when I say sit stay, I don't just mean staying in a sit and me like walking off ahead of him and then coming back. Like I put him in a sit and then I did like a full 360 walk around him and made him stay facing the same place. He does turn his head and look at me, but it's not like he will completely turn his body like he used to. He now sits in one place and just turns his head rather than standing up and moving his entire body to look at me. That really helped. I know it's kind of hard to say that that definitely did help, but I did that at the beginning of the walk, and then after that, his walking was really good comparatively to before that. Again, that might just be that he had a little bit of mental stimulation before we went for a walk, but we have done other mental stimulation before he goes for a walk, and that was the one that helped me the most. So maybe try starting that at the beginning of the walk and seeing if that helps, or just seeing if it helps in general. The next two are kind of not games, but kind of like strategies that I used. And the first one that I tried was every time he put a bit of tension on the lead, and when I say tension, I literally mean I go off like what McCann dogs say, where if the clip on his collar, this is all with the first tip of being like, have him on a collar if you're struggling with walking. I know it feels counterproductive because he's going to hurt his neck, but to learn how to walk properly, they need to have a collar and not like a harness. So if you're struggling with it, go back to the collar. If you have to walk them and you just don't want them to hurt yourself, get a gentle lead. That's what we do. And then it kind of like, if he pulls, his head comes to the side as well. It doesn't yank or anything, it annoys him, so he walks properly. And that's off the recommendation of other trainers as well. So yeah, no harnesses. This is on a lead, collar, sorry. So anytime that he's licking a candle, Oakley. Anytime there was tension on the lead in terms of his clip that was hooking onto his collar, kind of went upwards or any kind of direction that wasn't directly down, that's tension. Because I've seen quite a few videos on dogs, like dog trainers, saying that any type of tension on the lead is the same for them, apart from when it goes tight, and then it's even worse because then they just want to keep pulling. So I did it where even if it wasn't a real big pull, it was just he went too far out in front of it, I ran backwards and got him back to my side, because it kind of helped realign his focus back onto me. So we literally just went for a walk, and then whenever he started to go a little bit forward, I'd be like, oh, sometimes I used his name, sometimes I didn't. I'd just run backwards until he got back to my side, and then we carried on. And then that was kind of the first one that I really started noticing improvements, and he kept his focus on me. The second one was doing, I don't really want to say figure of eights, because that's kind of where I started with it, and I think that was from the Stay At Once account on TikTok, but I have been doing it more on like 90-degree left turns rather than figures of eight, because with the figures of eight you've only got like one kind of inside turn and the rest outside, and I'd say the inside turns were more valuable for me than what the outside turns were. So anytime that Oakley starts to get in front, if he isn't as in front as, how do I put this? If he isn't too far in front, I will straight away turn into him and go to the left. Obviously, this requires a little bit of planning. I only do this when there's room, and I'll have to try and preempt when he's going to do it, because I'll have to get to the right hand side of the pavement and then do a full like 180. But if you're in a space where it's like a field, which if you're going out to practice walking, you're not actually just taking him for a walk, you can do like a full like 90 and then just keep walking. They are the better ones, I'd say. Full 180, Oakley started to like clock that if I do a full 180, I'm going to turn again because I need to go back in the same direction. Whereas if I do a full 90, you can tell he doesn't know what's going on, because he's like, are we not going that way? And then he has to focus on you because he doesn't know what's going on. And then if he starts to pull again, you can do it again and then just keep going that direction. Like, I'd say doing 90 degrees is better than doing like a full 180. So just walking into him is the best way I've noticed to try to keep him back. If he is too far in front so that I can't turn into him because I'll just turn into the lead, so I have my lead in my right hand and I'll have a free hand for my left because he's walking on my left. I'll get his collar, I'll get the lead, pull back once, say back. I'm trying to not say back though because Oakley has a back command, so I think I'm going to start saying in. I'll pull back once and pull him backwards with that lead, so it'll be like, oh god, should I get his lead or should I get like a wire or something? Hang on. This is Jack's PS4 controller charger, but it'll have to do. So say it's like that, this is my hand, and say it's down like that. Obviously it would be tight if he was pulling, but I'll yank back like that way, just sharp and once, and that normally brings him back, and then I do the 180, and then the kind of little correction gets him backwards, and then me turning makes him be like, oh, I wasn't paying attention. And there's sometimes where if I haven't done the correction, I'll walk into him and he'll get a shock, but that kind of makes him be like, oh yeah, I've got to pay attention to mum. And they are kind of the main things that I'd say helped with his walking. And the thing with practicing a walk, if you are in that mindset where you're like, right, I'm just going to take them for a walk and do these things on the walk, I never found that very successful. I went really back to the basics and I did training sessions rather than walking. And now he's at the point where he can go for walks. But when I just went for a walk and tried to do them on the walk, I'd never get far because I'd be doing like 180s and I'd be running backwards, and you just end up like getting just to the bottom of your street because it takes that long, and then turning back. So I used to do it out front of my house or my flat. Now that I'm here, I have a back lane. I did it around the back lane when we first moved, and I've been doing it up and down the street. And that kind of doing it as that and practicing walking before you actually go for a walk is what then enables you to go for a walk. Because I think too many people get focused on, I'm taking my dog for a walk, I need to take my dog for a walk, when really practicing the walking is good mental stimulation anyway. So that's what they need rather than going for a walk. So I'd say if you're having trouble in with walking, stop the walks, and in that time that you're going to do the walks, do practice for walking. I know I've said walking so many times, but I hope that makes sense. So say if you were going to do like an hour walk or even a half an hour walk, I'd recommend do 15 minutes practicing walking, go back in the house, put them in that crate, let them have a sleep for 15 minutes, then go out again and try it again, and just keep doing that rather than taking like the hour walk that you're struggling with and probably failing with it a little bit if you are having trouble. So they were the main things that helped me. Again, like I say, might not help you, but I just thought like that did help with Oakley, so it might help. Right, next question. Does it get better? Adele, I feel you. This is a hard question to answer because I don't know where you're at with your dog for does it get better. I want to say if you're at the puppy stage, yes it does. I mentioned it in the year update. Puppy stages by means the hardest. Like, it's so difficult because they're just full of energy. They're a puppy, they don't know what the heck they're doing, they're just flying all over the place. So I'd say if you're with a puppy, yes, it gets better. If you're at the same kind of stage as Oakley, girl, you tell me, I don't know. Next up, the best advice for lead walking. We've already done that. And how much does he bark? Oakley actually doesn't bark a lot. He whines and cries a lot, which if you're a subscriber, you'll know is a big struggle. But he doesn't bark that much. The only time he really barks is if something's going on and he doesn't know what it is. So now we have moved into a house, we have a backyard. And sometimes when he's in the backyard and he hears like a dog in the distance, or he hears a noise and he doesn't know what it is, he'll let out a bark, and then that's it. He doesn't bark and bark and bark and bark. It'll just be like a, what's going on? And then look at us and just be like, do you know what's going on? And the only other time that he barks is when he's excited and he's playing. So he doesn't really bark that much, and we control that anyway. We wouldn't let him bark. So he's not that much of a barky dog. I'm about to teach him speak. So hopefully even the barking when he's playing will stop soon. How much exercise do you find he needs? All of it, like all of it. The Oakley literally, I know he's a cocker, so they need so much exercise, but I don't get how Oakley needs the amount of exercise that he does. So when he goes to my grandparents, when like we were in Gdansk, or when we go away, he is outside pretty much all day because they have a massive garden, and he just walks and runs around the garden literally all day. Like all day. He'll have like half an hour breaks here and there in his crate, and he literally doesn't stop, and he's still okay after that. So he needs all the exercise in the world, and it's a bit much. Crate training update. I think I probably covered this in the other video, so if you're looking for a crate training update, go watch the A Year with My Dog a year, oh, I can't remember what to call it, a year with my puppy. I think I covered it there, but basically we've gone back to basics with the crate training. At the minute, from the update from when I filmed that video, he's doing really well. He doesn't cry at night anymore, and he chooses to go lie in there now, which is really exciting. He will go on there in a night time and just fall asleep. So there's progress being made. He's still not great with when we leave the house, because we left, I was taking pictures in the garden and he was getting in the way, so Jack came and put him in his crate, and then we both went out in the garden and he started crying straight away. So he's not great with being left yet, but I think it's getting there. How to get through the teenage phase. Oh god, I'm probably not the best person to deal with this, to be completely honest. It kind of threw me. I didn't get through it well, so I can't tell you what I did to get through it, but I can tell you what I wish I'd known, or like what I'd wish I'd done. And that is, I wish I'd kind of not got caught up on like, he used to be able to do this, he should be able to do this. Just be like, right, okay, he can't do it anymore, and then go straight back to the basics, and don't put too high expectations on them, because I think that's where I got it. I was like, nobody should be able to do this, so let's just do it the way that we used to, and it just didn't work anymore. So I'd say just go back to basics with every single point of their training, and that's the only thing I can say. Have some good support system around you. I know it sounds silly to say have like a support system around you for a dog, because you're meant to be over the moon with having a dog, but I mean, you guys know how honest I am in these if you've watched any of my other ones. Get a support system in place, like go out, try and make time for yourself with it. I know people don't like people saying this, but it's like having a kid. Like, make time for yourself, like try and plan a time for yourself for you, and if you own them with a partner, you and your partner to go out, or you to go out with friends and partner to stay here, or just make time for yourself where you don't have to worry about them all the time. And sorry, I've just seen he's been let out and Jack's out in the garden. So just try and make time for yourself, and just don't get caught up in what they should be doing at the minute, and it should be easier than what I found it. But no, it does end. It does end as long as you go back to basics, because I'd say for me that's when the teenage phase ended for me, when my expectations went back down again. So yeah, I'm sorry if that doesn't help. Show us a comparison of his nose freckles. This is from George, who I grew up with. I'll pop 2 pictures up if I can. I haven't looked to see if I've got a good picture of his nose freckles from when he was little, but I will. Oh god, let's see if I can find one right now. I did take a picture in preparation for this, because I knew George had answered asked a question. Right, okay, I think I'll pop one of this. So I'll put a picture up of when we picked him. I don't know if I've put this anywhere. So this is a picture of him with his brothers. As you can see, he has like no nose freckles. He probably does have them, but they're so light you can't see. You can also see the colour difference in Oakley. We thought he was going to be lemon. He is not a lemon dog. Then this is a picture from the first, this is literally him in the car when we picked him up, and that you can kind of see the starting of his nose freckles. Then what other picture should we use? When he's tiny, you can't really see them. Let's keep going through. Right, I'm going to use this picture from his first bath. So there's this picture, and this was his first bath, 14th of October. This must have been 2 weeks after we brought him home, so he'd have been 10 weeks here. And then I'll put a picture of him. Literally, I took those pictures just before I finished it, so you can see they're way more freckly than what they were. His white patches are like my favourite part of him. Like, I love how he has little white spots all over him, and his nose freckles are just the cutest. So George, thank you for asking that question, because it is adorable. How has he evolved? I think I'll leave this question because I think I answered it in the last one, showing like how he's grown and how he's changed. I don't know if I talked about his personality much, but I don't really think his personality's changed. He's just crazy, huffy, and yeah, just way too excitable. Right, did you ever feel like giving up? And if so, what stopped you? I would say I probably felt like, I still do, I felt like giving up with Oakley. I'm gonna caveat this with like, I try to be as honest as possible. If I get hate for it, I don't care anymore. I'm past it. I just want to be completely honest. So if anybody's feeling the same, they know that there's somebody else out there who feels the same. I wanted to give up with Oakley every single day. Like every single day, I said to myself, this is too hard. Like, this is too hard. I don't know how to get through this. But there was no other option than for me to carry on. I would never give up Oakley. Like it's not even a thought process of thinking, right, okay, well, how would we rehome him? Or would we put him in a shelter? Like, I wanted to give up, but the reason I didn't is because, well, he's our dog. Like, we can't just give up. We can't, it's not an option. Again, I know people don't like this, but I'm going to compare it to have a kid. Once you have a kid, that's your kid. Like, you keep going no matter what. So it's just, there was no other option. Even though I wanted to, even though I cried so much, my mental health went so bad once we got Oakley. But I made that decision to get a dog, and I have to live with that decision, and it's me who has to change, not Oakley going to a shelter or being rehomed, if that makes sense. Like, I needed to change for him to make sure that we can keep going forward with him. So yeah, I did want to give up, and there are still days that I do want to give up, but there's no option. It's not going to happen. So I'm changing for him, and I hope you guys understand that that's enough. I'm not saying it's perfect, and I'm not saying that it's all sunshine and like every day I'm just like, oh, I'm so lucky to have him. It's freaking hard, but I hope you understand that it's enough that I'm never gonna let him go, and I am trying my utmost to be a better person for him and to get more patience to deal with him. And it's like, I'm changing. He's not going anywhere. I'm the one who's changing. Did he stop eating poop? This was covered on the other one, but I'm going to talk about it briefly. I think he has. So we have been out a few times since that video, because in the video I explained that we haven't really been anywhere enough for him to eat it. But I've been out a few times, and he's come across it. He's still attracted to it. He still will go over to it and smell it. I haven't gave him enough time to just be around it to see if he does eat it, because I don't want him to eat it. But he isn't going for it straight away like he used to. So I'm hoping it's better. We haven't done a long line walk yet, but I'm hoping it's better. How is he adjusting to the house? I'm moving to a different place with my dog in January. Any tips? Best of luck with the move, Sophie. I genuinely believe he absolutely loves it. I know he's a dog. I know he can't really tell me whether he loves it, but I genuinely believe he loves it. There is so much more room to walk about, and he's always walking about and just looking, and there's so many more places that he likes. He loves his crate in here. He loves his bed. He loves being under the little kitchen counter, like the breakfast bar. He loves being under there, and I don't know, he just seems a bit happier. Like, there's watching him walk about and having room to roam about the house. He's fine. Like, he's doing really well, and he loves the garden. Every time we go to the doors, he starts wagging his tail and going straight up, and he loves going out and sniffing there. So he's adjusting really well. Like, I think I mentioned it in the other one. He cried the first night, and he cried he cried a little amount for the first week on an evening, but that was kind of the main thing. And I would say me and Jack are willing for Oakley to cry it out if we know he's okay. So that first night we knew he was fine down here. It was a little bit of like the first night you ever have a puppy where they're just away from the place they know, they're a little bit scared. And I'd say if you're not willing, that's completely okay, and I hope you don't judge me that I do think it's okay if I let him cry him out a little bit. He only cried for like 15 minutes, but I'd maybe say again, go back to how it was if you are worried about that, and bring the crate into your bedroom and have it where they can see you. But obviously I would say only do that for like the first like week or so, phase it out. You don't want your puppy sleeping in your bedroom the entire time. But I would say, for tips for moving, don't have them there when you're moving. I'm so glad that we had my grandparents to look after Oakley when we moved, and I I can't imagine doing that with him here all the time and having to worry about where he is and having to make sure all the doors were closed so he can't get out. So if you have the option, maybe ask someone to look after him or take them to a daycare or a kennel that you trust. If you don't have that option, plan the day, like figure out where they're going to be when you are doing certain tasks. But I would 100% recommend taking them somewhere else whilst you do the move if you can. Obviously I know not everybody has that option, but that's probably the only tip that I have, because Oakley kind of just went into it really smoothly. So yeah, if you are really worried about it, contact a trainer, like someone more qualified than me. Last question, does Oakley ever sit still when outside? Our cocker gets so stressed if we're not moving. I'm sorry, Lois, it is really hard. I do think this might be a cocker thing. It might be just all high energy dogs. So Oakley was like that, he still is to some extent, but it's actually something we train for. So we do a lot of relaxation training when we were outside, and I started really slow. So I literally used to sit on our front step and just let him watch the world go by and then reward him when he relaxed. And I wasn't looking for a down either, I looked for a relax. So there's kind of like, I think the dog trainers call it a sphinx down, where they're lying down and they're like a sphinx, and then there's a relaxed down where they kind of like go on their hip a little bit. So I looked for a relaxation. When he relaxed, I rewarded him either by food or just petting him. I've seen some trainers do like and ignore them completely until they relax and then give them attention. I haven't done that. I've just rewarded with food because Oakley is incredibly food motivated. So it is really difficult, but I think it's just something you have to train for if it is something you're struggling with, because he was like that, and once we've started training it, he is a little bit better. So I am sorry you're struggling with it, but maybe just start doing some training. Like, don't do it when you're out for you, if that makes sense. So if you are going out for a coffee and you want to take your dog, maybe don't do it when like you have something to do. Maybe if you've got like 10 minutes spare, just go like in your garden or some park and just sit for a little while and do that training, and then hopefully you'll be able to build up to when you can take them and they'll relax like when you're out. So I think that was all of the questions. I hope that was useful. I'll put my little caveat that I put on all of them, and that is, if you do comment anything negative, I will delete it. And that's not me trying to make it look like nobody's saying anything negative. That's because I've had a lot of negative comments on a lot of my videos, and it really put me into a decline within me and also around Oakley's training, and it's just not fair on him or me for how bad that made me feel. So if you do comment something negative and you see that I delete it, please don't say that I'm trying to like skew what it looks like or free speech or something. I'm telling you now, people who are watching this, there are people who disagree with me. So hopefully that's enough. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did enjoy it, please make sure to leave it a like. It just really helps support it, and I know people love these Oakley videos, so if you could leave it a like, it would really mean a lot to me. If you have any other videos that you want to see specifically, I've mentioned in the past maybe doing some like more like concentrated videos on, like I could do like a video on lead walking. Again, like I'm not that qualified to do that because I'm not a trainer, but if you guys want to see it, I'll do it. So let me know if you want to see any other videos, and of course subscribe if you are new. We post videos every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday, and yeah, that's going to be it. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.